Welcome to Spaced Out Astronomy. Prepare to dive head first into the rabbit hole with this one, and into a different dimension that lies deep within my schizophrenic mind. Consider this: if you did magic mushrooms and ran into a psychiatrist, you would be declared mentally ill, because it is illegal to hallucinate. It is also, in fact, illegal to hear voices, to go psychotic, and even to have extreme beliefs. When you think about it, it's actually illegal to act, talk, or think too far outside the norm. That's ridiculous, and it seems like tyranny to me, but it's true. I have to say before we begin that I am schizophrenic, and I have done all the above things happily and thoroughly enjoyed them all, because fuck tyranny. If I get sectioned again, then so be it, but it's worth it for a laugh to share these theories with you, because I have theories. They could be described as lunatic fringe theories, which is fitting because I'm schizophrenic. And when you're schizophrenic, sometimes you hear voices in your head. Some quack doctors would say these voices are a malfunction of the neocortex, and would either cut that part of the brain out with lobotomy, electroshock it with high voltage currents, or simply medicated with antipsychotic chemicals, sometimes described as a chemical lobotomy. But another, more interesting theory, which a lot of schizophrenics believe, and will be described as an illegal delusional belief, is that such things as clairvoyance and telepathy are real. Extrasensory perception lies dormant within each human being on the planet and is never used because knowledge of it has been hidden by secret societies who use it to their advantage. Evidence of it may be found in the occult. I started thinking about it, that Freemasons and other secret societies have been hiding this knowledge for centuries, possibly even millennia. It seems absolutely crazy, to be honest. I understand you're probably questioning my sanity at this point, but I'm simply speculating, asking what if. So, let's proceed with the mindfuck. Fossils found recently in a cave in Siberia, dating back 40,000 years ago, have led scientists to declare that Neanderthals had a relative that branched off from them. They were called the Denisovans. They were ancient humans who stood 7 foot tall on average. Autistic genes found in their genome, coupled with evidence that they domesticated horses, created star maps, and made sophisticated jewelry 70,000 years ago, have led people to believe that they possessed a kind of savant mind. It has been suggested that these Denisovans were the hypothesized lost civilization, who built Stonehenge, Newgrange, and all the megalithic structures which lay on the ley lines. These ley lines were the sources of the Earth's electromagnetic energy. Not just megaliths, but also pyramids were built along these ley lines, all over the world, from South America to China, to Bulgaria to Egypt. These pyramids were built. Off the coast of Japan in the Far East, pyramid structures have been found underwater, which when you look at the water level data, could only have been above sea level some 30 to 50,000 years ago, right when the Denisovans lived. How advanced were these Denisovans? Recent archaeological evidence suggests that the Egyptian Great Pyramid generated electromagnetic energy using water from the Nile ran through a system of underground tunnels. The Egyptian pyramid's date of construction is being dated back further and further each year, with some putting construction of the Sphinx at over 12,000 years ago, due to water erosion evidence. It is possible that the ancient Egyptians found the pyramids, maybe even fought the Denisovans for them at their last stronghold before extinction. A nugget of bullshit that stands out to me from my days at school is the fact I found out in 6th class nobody knows how the pyramids were built, or what they were built for. I remember thinking as I read the textbook, this smells like bullshit, and I appear to have been right. The more I looked into it, the more it seems that a lot of important information was left out of the history books. All mundane shit that's boring was included just. The pyramids were built at the exact center of the world map. They contained the ratio of the Earth's dimensions and corresponded to certain star systems 12,000 years ago. Things like that would have made history class a bit more exciting, but it seems someone didn't want us to know these things. Also, the ancient Egyptians consumed a white powder known as monatomic gold, which amplified and increased reception and absorption of electromagnetic energy. which we know the pyramids generated. What were they doing? Increasing their lifespans? They also did a lot of magic mushrooms and hashish, blue lily, and various other narcotics, hallucinogenic ethogens, and psychotropes, which are now illegal. Why are they illegal? When there is evidence that they might have contributed to evolution, society, and now possibly the origins of religion. Criminals continually do and supply them, and why are they constantly demonized as bad and evil? Why are they illegal? Perhaps the Denisovans, absorbing the electromagnetic energy of the pyramids with the monatomic gold, felt like they were constantly coming up on ecstasy. They seemed to be living in peace and harmony with the ancient world, with all these pyramids and drugs. So what happened? Graham Hancock has hypothesized, and a growing number of scientists now agree, that a comet struck the Earth 11 to 9,000 years ago, causing a global cataclysm, tilting the Earth off its axis, turning 2 seasons a year into 4, and ending the Ice Age, which created a global flood, immortalized in the now thought to be historical account of Noah's Ark, symbolically told in the Bible, which came from the ancient Sumerian tablets. These tablets mention the Anunnaki gods, which may have actually been the Denisovans themselves, who undoubtedly mastered aerodynamic flight, and if the pyramids and face on Mars are actually real, they may have came from Mars. It gets deeper. There is evidence that Mars once had water and was a thriving planet full of life, but there is also evidence of a possible nuclear war on the planet that might have destroyed it. Now, judging by the Americans' underground cities and domes or deep underground military bases, which I have learned about on YouTube from people like Bob Lazar, if there was a civilization on Mars that had the capacity for nuclear war, they undoubtedly went underground. Now I ask you this, if you lived underground, in cramped tunnels and under artificial light, what would you evolve to look like? Maybe this? I mentioned Bob Lazar because he went public about the extraterrestrial craft the American government had obtained and had been trying to back engineer in Groom Lake, Nevada 20 years ago. Judging by the reports coming in from all across the globe, they either succeeded or there is a presence on Earth that isn't human. An extraterrestrial presence on Earth has been talked about since ancient times. We all know the ancient alien evidence of blocks so big they must have been levitated by advanced technology at Pumapunku, Stonehenge in Egypt, the ancient Vedic text describing nuclear war between the gods, and the radioactive evidence in India. Are these things real? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, but it goes even deeper than that. The fact is, that all could have been Denisovan creations, but the ugly truth is, they are all extinct now. Along with Neanderthals, Homo habilis, all of our ancestors and relatives are extinct. And judging by the spiritual scriptures that are said to be describing prehistory, they all went extinct when the Watchers or the Nephilim arrived, the Elohim that created humanity. What if humanity was created through genetic manipulation of Denisovans and the extraterrestrial race of beings called the Elohim? What if the Elohim were aliens? If this is true, we've essentially been lied to and anything could be true. It is an alien invasion of Earth and we are the aliens. Well, to be specific, we are a mix of the natural Earthlings and Denisovans, and the aliens are the Elohim who have created us to populate the Earth for them since we contain their genes. If this is true, the Watchers or the Nephilim could also be members of this Elohim race. Lucifer and his angels could symbolically represent extraterrestrials. It is a covert alien invasion, and they have already destroyed Mars. It would explain the secret societies occupying the highest echelons of society, the ridicule associated with alien theories, and the lies in the history books. These invaders very well may be coming from the Martian underground, which they took over after destroying the Anunnaki or the Denisovan society on that planet. This takes us back to the schizophrenia. These theories are what I think about in an attempt to evaluate the evidence after the last time I went psychotic and got sectioned. I had been hearing voices whispering to me that identified themselves as aliens. They were telling me that they had created humanity and showing me that they built up our society and culture and let us thrive because they were essentially waiting. They likened it to setting the table, preparing the food, putting it out on the plate, and getting a knife and fork. They told me they were our natural predators, and the earth was basically a farm in which to grow a planet full of livestock in preparation for a feeding frenzy. They would soon announce themselves and begin to harvest a bloody feeding frenzy of war, which would cause as much bloodshed as possible because it was like the greatest pleasure possible for them. I was actually frightened, and I didn't eat for 2 weeks straight in an attempt to change their mind so they wouldn't eat us all. I nearly died, but I eventually ate a doner kebab, so I guess we're fucked. It was a dark time for me, and I went to hospital shortly afterwards, but I'm fine now thanks to these antipsychotics. There's another possibility here too, that this alien species actually found the star system and has been terraforming Earth for billions of years, introducing certain life forms at just the right time, changing species and altering things to keep this ecosystem stable. We only notice us getting tampered with because it's just the most recent thing they've done. If you were an alien civilization with the technology to do this, wouldn't you? The main driving force of life is to survive, thrive and propagate. And if you could genetically engineer stuff, wouldn't you create a planet full of your DNA, of life? Perhaps it's a method of engineering a race of intelligent beings like them or us, who then go on to do the same thing. Maybe that's how life spreads throughout space. If this is their aim though, why are we being kept in the dark, lied to, brainwashed, milked for all the money we can make by corporations like slaves, by a corrupt government full of secret societies, made violent and made fight wars, such atrocities and bloodshed, misery and pain in this world? It wasn't always like this. Apparently there was peace in the time of the Denisovans. Perhaps our Denisovan half is good and Aurelian half is evil. Maybe that's why it's a constant battle, because we are a Frankenstein monster genetically modified to ensure the development of intelligence in this cosmic zoo experiment conducted by aliens. It is possible that this is all complete bullshit. I must make that absolutely clear, that it's pure speculation and I do not believe any of it. But it's definitely a giant mindfuck if it's true. Thanks for watching Spaced Out Astronomy.